Five-star prospect and #1 guard in the nation, Devon Campbell has released his top 8 and we need to talk about it. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. So hop down in the comments and give me a Y for yes or an N for no. And if you frequented the channel, you'll know that even though I think Devon Campbell will be a massive get for any of the 8 institutions listed, there's one institution which he supersedes a massive get into a must land, and that's the University of Texas. And with that in mind, do you believe that the University of Texas is going to be able to land Devon Campbell? Y for yes, N for no. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification, that way you don't miss any of my uploads, because I do constant college football content, whether that's player reviews, film analysis, or talk style videos like this, and I'm on my push to 5,000 subscribers within my first year of having a channel, and I'd love to have you along for the journey. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like and comment down below, because that stuff goes a long ways in helping content creators like myself get picked up by the algorithm. But with all that being said, let's talk about Devon Campbell and the 8 places he picked. And first and foremost, I want to talk about why I think he's a must-get for the University of Texas. And it stems back to not only the current class for the University of Texas, who is packed with incredible offensive talent, but all of that offensive talent is for naught if you don't have an offensive line that allows that talent to be able to maximize its ability. And Devon Campbell is a guy that can be a starting piece to a fantastic offensive line. And he's also such a big deal for the University of Texas because the University of Texas has missed on a lot of big linemen in its state in the past few years. Just last year, you're talking about legacies. Tommy Brockermeyer, James Brockermeyer not going there. And then you also have Donovan Jackson, #1 guard out of last year's class, also not going to the University of Texas. And even though there is a new recruiting regime at the University of Texas who is generating a ton of excitement and a ton of buzz, all of that excitement and buzz is for nothing if you can't go out and land a guy like Devon Campbell. And so with that in mind, that's why I do think he is a must land for the University of Texas, because not only have you missed out on top linemen, not only do you need top linemen to be able to maximize what it is Sark wants to do and the talent you already have, but you've missed on so many top linemen in the state of Texas, and that cannot continue to happen. And so Devon Campbell becomes a must-get for the University of Texas. But let's talk about the 8 schools after him. And of course, we have Texas, we have Alabama, OU, A&M, we have LSU, Florida State, Houston, and USC. Now, like I already said with Texas, I imagine Kyle Flood will help in there, Steve Sarkisian. They'll be sending all they can at Devon Campbell in order to secure his commitment. Now, if we look at who Alabama is sending at Devon Campbell, they're sending Doug Marrone at Devon Campbell. And for those of you who know, Doug Marrone is a former NFL coach, but he specifically specializes in offensive line, and he is the Crimson Tide's new offensive line coach, and he will be looking to make a splash with his first official signee being a 5-star #1 guard in the nation. So he will be coming at Devon Campbell very, very vehemently. And if we look at OU, we have Bill Bendabaugh, who has been a thorn in the side of the nation when recruiting offensive linemen because he has a laundry list of top-level offensive talent coming out of high school, a really, really good recruiter. Now, for A&M, there's no recruiter listed per 24/7 Sports, but we all know that it's probably going to be Daryl Dickey in there, an awesome recruiter, another guy who is able to secure top-level talent, and Jimbo Fisher will absolutely be involved, because as much as Texas is going to be looking to keep him home, A&M is also going to be trying to keep him there, and how can you blame them when you look at how talented Devon Campbell is? When we go over to the other 4, we have LSU, Florida State, Houston, and USC. And while I think that Houston is the least likely, remember, they have pulled a 5-star prospect before. This is an institution that does recruit fairly well for where they are in their positioning in their conference. And so because of that, even though I think that it's a long shot, it cannot be discounted because they've nabbed a 5-star guy before. But with that being said, I really don't see him ending up at Houston, but best of luck to Houston. LSU is sending James Craig after him. And this is another battle that's going to be interesting because James Craig was just an offensive line coach in the NFL, albeit an assistant offensive line coach, but in the NFL nonetheless. He's a guy that's going to be incredibly interesting to watch because recruits are going to be big on guys that they are comfortable, that they know understand the NFL game and how to succeed at the NFL level. That's what gives Doug Marrone and now James Craig a little bit of an interesting twist, But when you look at the University of Texas and them able to get in the guys they have, like Steve Sarkisian, he knows what it takes to get in, succeed in the NFL. That also really helps. So James Craig is a guy we really need to respect in this process because he has a lot of knowledge in how to succeed as an offensive lineman, and I think that he's going to make it very interesting. There's no recruiter listed for Florida State, as well as Houston and USC. 24/7 Sports doesn't have any of them listed as recruiters, but just running down through them, for Houston, once again, I think it's a long shot. It's possible. They've landed a 5-star before. They've landed very good prospects, but I just don't see him ending up there. Not when you have Alabama, LSU, Texas, A&M, USC, and Florida State offering. And my next least likely would probably be Florida State, but who knows with the way they're recruiting right now, because they are really recruiting on a high level. They have a lot of good talent that they're looking to get. The state of Florida is absolutely saturated with talent. We talk about the state of Texas being full of talent, and Florida is as well. The state of Florida right now currently houses 6 5-stars and 11 guys within the top 100 players in the nation per 24/7 Sports, something that we cannot sneeze at. And so whoever Florida State is going to be able to send at him, they do have a pitch of, we can be the guys that help turn this university around back into the glory days. Now, the reason why I think that that's the second least likely option is because that's a similar pitch to what Texas is going to be saying to him, and Texas is a hometown, is the home team. And not only that, they have Steve Sarkisian and a 5-star quarterback that is a part of the class, giving them a lot of intrigue for him to come into a top receiver. Y'all know how high I am on Evan Stewart. Now, USC is interesting because USC is scorching hot on the recruiting trail right now, and it doesn't just relegate itself to this year. If we look at last year, landing the #1 player in the nation in Corey Foreman, and then being able to come and clean up on signing day in Rayshawn Davis. They start off this year by adding in #3 player in the nation, Damani Jackson, the #1 cornerback in the nation, and a really, really special class could come together for USC, and a guy like Devon Campbell is going to be an integral piece to that. Now, with all that being said, I do think that he ends up at the University of Texas because I think the University of Texas has a really interesting pitch to give him, because they can tell him, we're going to pair you along with the awesome running backs we have here. We have great receiving talent come in. We have a 5-star quarterback coming in, and we have an awesome play caller who generates a ton of buzz and excitement. Come be a part of the group that turns the University of Texas back into the blue blood program we're so used to it being. And look, we say that Texas has been bad, and Texas hasn't been good, but Texas has been bad by Texas standards, right? There's a lot worse teams in college football than the University of Texas over the past few years. But Texas is looking to get back to their standards, and a guy like Devon Campbell is a must get in order for that to happen. But I can't wait to hear from y'all. So hop down to the comments and let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.